Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Why Did I Lose? The Prismata series in which I analyze viewer games and tell you why I think you lost. As I have mentioned previously, I am no longer accepting submissions for this Why Did I Lose series, and I can now confirm that this is the final video in this Why Did I Lose series. I wasn't sure if I had more replays lying around. Turns out I had this one, but no more. So, this will be the end. Sad news, I'm sure, but let's get started here and see what we can do in this game. First, this replay comes to us from Facestab, who asks, "Was the opening too fast? Vi counters D-grid, so you should do something fast. And was my second animus wrong? Should it be a blast forge?" Okay, I will keep those things in mind as yes, we want to be player one. As I play this one against MasterPot, and then we will look at the replay. So first thing is, yes, indeed, Defense Grid and Vi are in the set, so I have loaded the correct replay. Good news. And indeed, it does seem as though Vi counters Defense Grid. Let's look first at the absorbers available to help us guide economy size. They are basically defense grid. That is all. Right? You can absorb on Shredder for a little while. You can absorb on Perforator, but that's worse than Wall, so we shouldn't really consider it. So, you know, it's going to like be a question of, can you get defense grid? And I don't think you can. Like, the support for defense grid is okay. There's Manticore, which lets you cheaply spend all the blue you've accrued that you don't super want anymore. And Shredder is a relatively cheap blue sink also. One problem that like you sometimes run into in defense grid is like you run out of steel splitters to buy. And like, hey, at least that's less likely to be a problem here. We have 14 extra steel splitters in the box, more or less. So that shouldn't be an issue, but none of these are fantastic attackers, right? If you are getting a defense grid, the attacker you want to get is like Shadow Fangs, I think. Well, plus a Vi, of course. Since if you're teched for defense grid and Shadow Fang, you can also get Vi's. So you would get one of those and then a bunch of Fangs and Perforators. I think that Savior is pretty laughable here. Yes, there is Defense Grid and Shredder. Those sort of contribute to Savior, but I think if you ever try to get it, well, no, yeah, I think if you ever try to get it, your opponent, like, could just build the double red stuff. Depending on whether you commit yourself to defense grid, they can just Shadow Fang you, or they can Shadow Fang plus Vi you. So I'm inclined to say that like you can't really get the defense grid because Vi is relatively convenient for an opponent to threaten to get, even if they don't have to actually get it until you get a third blue, or even, yeah. If you get a third blue, they can get a second red, and then if you actually get the defense grid, they can actually get the Vi, but they don't have to do any of, like, they can stop just short of Vi if you stop just short of defense grid, and they're perfectly happy to just build Fangs and Perforators and Shredders forever or whatever. Okay, so I'm inclined to believe defense grid is not good. Reservoir, like, super not good. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think with Fangs, there's not really any reason to get Reservoir. You want Reservoir when there are just like no good attackers in the set and plenty of good ways to defend. Since this lets you turn drones into attackers relatively efficiently, eventually. With good attackers in the set, you don't really need that. And with no astoundingly good defense here, you're unlikely to, you know, reach the eventually stage. Plus, you don't really want green. So I guess, like, I would say this is a relatively... It's not a super high economy set, because you're not going to be able to get defense grid, probably. But there is Manticore, right? Like, Manticore is a pretty decent economical unit. Like, you can buy it as your first couple of attackers. You get Steel Splitter into Manticore or Steel Splitter into Manticore. And, like, that works pretty well with defense grid. But... it's hard to see it working. Like, I don't know. I guess you might want 2 blue here. Simply so that you can threaten to get a defense grid if your opponent doesn't make enough moves towards Vi. Or has too small an economy. Like, let's say your opponent tries to Shadow Fang and Perforate or Rush you. I think against that you'd like to get, you know, a couple Shredders and Manticores and then a defense grid. And then build your own Shadow Fangs or something. But they can build a Vi against you then, so maybe you don't want to do that. Gosh, I don't know what to do here, really. Nothing stands out. I mean, what stands out is, like, these 2 units sort of preventing each other. And defense grid is not necessarily, like, completely unplayable when Vi is in the set. But here, I don't see any great reason to get it. It's just sort of giving you drones and nullifying your opponent's Vi. Or not nullifying, but, like, making your opponent's Vi an expensive Shadow Fang. But it costs you a lot of money to do that. So it doesn't seem that great. So, I don't know. I might, like, just try to aim for... like, get a Blast Forge and an Animus. And... then... try to add on either another Animus or another Blast Forge, depending on... I don't know, something. Whether it seems like I should be going for Manticore or Shadow Fang. It's hard to believe that either of those will actually be super... I don't know. I feel like I might just want 1 Blast Forge, 1 Animus. And if my opponent tries to go too greedy, you can build a second Animus. But otherwise, just like Tarsiers, and then like Perforators and Shredders. Doom Drone's obviously going to be good here, in the sense that it is always good. So I don't know. We're going to aim for around 13 drones, probably. Build Tarsiers and blue stuff. I guess that's the plan. Doesn't seem very inspired. I feel like I ought to be doing something about these. And I guess what I'm doing about them is just keeping them in mind, right? Not actually buying them, and that's fine. Alright, I'm player 1. I can't build Animus here. And I think we're getting red first. Ooh, spicy. That's kind of scary, actually. I wonder if one of those drones last turn should have been a Doom drone. Then I could do something like Blast Forge Animus Doom drone this turn. I'd be at 12 drones, which is still a bit low. I don't know. I think I'll get an Animus first. If the opponent like builds 2 Perforators or something super aggressive, I'll be a little surprised. I guess I'll build a Rhino in response. Okay, they're not doing that. So we can just build a couple attackers. Get another Blast Forge. Gosh, it's gonna be... I'm so close to being able to build this second Animus right now. But I don't know. I don't have enough... For Shadowfang, you want 13 drones anyway, and I only have 12, so... No, I do want the Blast Forge. Wall's gonna be good. Oh, this attack does nothing. I guess I'll get a Perforator, like... just because it spends the money reasonably well, and then I can defend with Perforator next turn. Plus it threatens some attack. He's gonna... I feel like I'm losing to Masterbot here, actually. I think he's doing better than things than I am. He has all the... I guess, I don't know. He's gonna make mistakes. He like, does not understand that holding Doom Drones is good, and so that might be my salvation here. Let's get a Shredder. It's a little early for Shredder, actually. He'll be in a good position to deal just exactly 4 damage to me on the turn that the Shredder arrives, so I can't really do it, I don't think. It lets him deny me Absorb pretty usefully, I think. What if I attacked with both Perforators? Got a wall. This is my chance to add in some more tech, right? And Animus leaves me teched for Vi, or Fangs, but the problem is, like, neither one of those is actually super good right now. Maybe I can build, like, Fang Shredder next turn, and holding 1 Perforator is not going to be enough to defend. But Wall Shredder, maybe I could do. This just feels way too greedy. I'm not going to be able to get Shadowfang value, I don't think. Maybe I can hold both Perforators back to let me get a Shadowfang, but in that case it's not really very convincing. I don't know what else to do, though. More Tarsiers and a Doom Drone? Another Perforator and an Engie instead? But I don't have any real attack this way. I think I need the Tarsier. Yeah, any attack we do in the relatively short term is going to be nullified by all these Doom Drones. So a slow Tarsier is sort of appealing in that way. So this makes him lose a Rhino. I would love to get a Shredder here. I really would. But it's sort of hard to see that happening, isn't it? Yeah, I can't even... Well, this makes him... He attacks for just 6 here. Or if he wants to attack for 4, leaving 2 Rhinos back to exploit me, I guess I'm okay with that. I don't really, like, feel safe adding on any more tech. I think I just need, like, Engineers and Doom Drones. A second Blast Forge here has gotta be wrong. A second Animus, like, I could spend the tech maybe, but it's just so greedy. Let's just build more Engineers so that I can, like, attack a bit more. Like, so that I don't have to defend so much. I can maybe build an actual Shredder next turn. Alright, So we want to attack for 4 to make him lose the Rhino, but attacking for 5 doesn't actually do anything, so I can leave this Perforator back, which is nice. And now is a fine time to buy Shred. What is the second Blast Forge? Are you kidding me? I guess it's not time for Shredder because he's back. He's about to be back down to 4 attack. Just get a Splitter instead. No, let's do it this way, please. Another Perforator. I have enough income now that I could try to get this second Animus and a lot of defense to fall back on. I think he's given me too much room. And I'm going to try to punish that by probably just getting Fangs. He doesn't have a gigantic enough attacker for... he doesn't have a huge enough defender for Vi to be good. So it's just like 13 for 3 attack, where Shadow Fang is 8 for 2 attack. And furthermore, like, leaves me a lot more tech available. This Perforator will help defend to let me get out the Shadow Fang. Here he is not necessarily losing any attack, so I think we just want a wall. Is that what I want? I guess it is. Here he's probably, but not necessarily, losing 1 attack, so we'll just build another Fang. Okay, so Masterbot has managed to lose this one, even though I think he was ahead of me earlier. I can get a Fang and a Shredder. How nice. What a luxury. So I definitely didn't have like a clear idea of what I was doing in this set. It feels like you have to go for something not that high economy because there aren't any really good absorbers. You have to keep it in your range to build a Vi if your opponent goes for grid. So you don't want to do anything crazy like turn 2 Animus, but a turn 3 Animus followed by eventually getting some more drones is fine. You don't even need that many more drones to threaten Vi because you can float some money from the previous turn if you need to. All right, well I'm glad I at least didn't lose that one to Masterbot. That would have been a bit sad. All right, so let's see what the players did here. Oh, did I mention, by the way, this replay comes to us from Facestab? I don't think I did say that. So, reminder, what he asked, he or she asked, was my opening too fast? I figured that since Vi countered D-Grid, I should try for a fast red opening. Was this correct? I think the major error I made that game was the second Animus. Should I have gotten a Blast Forge instead? Okay. Whoa! That is a play and a half. I don't like this very much. That's a little bit too fast. I did an opening somewhat like this in an earlier Why Did I Lose, right? I opened turn 1 Doom Drone plus Drone and then like another Doom Drone plus Drone because I was trying to build like Hellhounds and Electivores and Grimbotches. I think this set is not nearly that fast. Furthermore, I did make a mistake in that set, which I did not realize. I mentioned it in the Discord, and some people pointed out my error, which is that I opened like D1, D1, figuring like, oh, this Doom Drone on turn 1, I'll still get value. And like, it was my plan to go D1, D1, so like I have a train of Doom Drones. But someone pointed out, I think it was Mr. Guy, pointed out that that's strictly worse than just DD, 1, 1. right? The point of Doom Drone, the reason you would buy Doom Drone instead of Drone is if you plan to defend with it, and it like helps you economically get some more stuff. And if you're just by being $1 cheaper, right? And if the opponent actually does let you defend with a Doom Drone that after building one on turn 1, like great, amazing. But if you're planning to build some number of drones and Doom Drones, you want to build all of the drones first and then all of the Doom Drones, provided that you can do so while still being able to build the other stuff you want. It will feel less valuable because, let's say your opponent actually does attack you on turn 5 or whatever, whenever it is that you can first hold back Doom Drone. In that case, the two lines transpose. They're the same. You just hold back a Doom Drone with lifespan 2 to defend. And like, yeah, that Doom Drone got less value, but that's because some other drone got more value and it equals out. The downside to my line is if the enemy doesn't attack you on turn 5, you don't have the option of just working both Doom Drones, because one of them is about to die anyway. And that did indeed happen. Masterbot didn't attack me on that turn. I lost Doom Drone value, so I gave up $1 that I could have had for free by opening 2 drones first and then 2 Doom Drones. Anyway, here though, I don't think the set is this fast. If you try to rush this much, like there's no Hellhounds, there's no Electrovores, there's no Grimbotches, and to do well in this set, you need a moderately sized economy, like at least, let's say 10 to 11 drones would be like the lowest I would accept here. I mean, I don't know, I guess we're going double doomed into double doomed Animus into like having $12 and building 2 Tarsiers double doomed. Wow. I mean, I guess that does that maths out. You just build double dooms every turn. It's just hard to believe that the Doom Drones will be getting value if you do that. And you'll sort of spiral. You'll enter a death spiral when your Doom Drones start dying if your opponent goes for anything a bit greedier. I feel like they'll be able to just build walls and shredders to, like, I don't know. Maybe this is okay. I've never thought of doing this in a Doom Drone red set, but it certainly is a thing. It could happen. I agree, this is a good player 2 opening. Usually this transposes with the... You follow this up by building triple drone, right? And then you sort of just like have more stuff than someone who opened DD on turn 1. The same number of regular drones, but like you have a Doom Drone and an Engineer, sort of. Although I don't know if I would still do it in response to the turn 1 double Doom Drone. It's a bit greedy. You might want to... I don't know. It's actually probably fine. I'd say even better because the Doom Drone is certain to get value, right? So we did follow up with the plan of building as many Tarsiers and Doom Drones as possible. Great. I think having played that turn 1, these are the turns 2 and 3 that you must play. And now we finally get a regular drone because we can afford it. I guess, sure. But see, these Doom Drones are all dying off like well before the opponent is attacking us. They're not really serving much purpose here. The opponent is reacting by just like taking a relatively defensive posture. And we're not really ever going to be in a position to threaten Vi, so the enemy can get a defense grid if they want, I think, with an opening like this. Yeah, and like they've got Shredders and Doom Drones. And our Doom Drones are just sucking because they're not getting any value. I think this is definitely something that... Did I mention that this was coming? I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was something that I think we definitely should have seen, and I think I did see. is that like these Doom drones are awful because they're not getting defensive value, and the opponent can easily predict that this will happen and just not build any attack and say, all right, well, you know, I'll tech up a bit while you kill it yourself with these Doom drones dying off. Now, these Tarsiers are definitely doing something. It's nice to be ahead of the opponent by 6 attack, don't get me wrong. Interesting. Reservoir. That might actually be good against what we're doing so far. Because we don't have any good attackers to build. We can't build that many Tarsiers. And we're sort of planning to build a bunch of Soak. If we just hold out until the force fields arrive, we should be in good shape, right? Huh. Well, I wouldn't have predicted this. And I think the second conduit, like, has got to be wrong. I would rather just build, like, some engineers or something. So that maybe next turn you can build another shredder. You don't need that many force fields for... Well, I don't know. You're going to need some to defend. Even before the reservoir comes in. Yeah, but you have all these amazing Doom drones. I don't know. Oh, yeah, see this? The enemy just won't attack with their shredder, right? They want to defend with it anyway. I don't think we should be trying to get this Doom drone value. The enemy wants to defend with this shredder, and we're just letting them. All right, well, let me back up here. I skipped that turn because I was focused more on what the opponent is doing, which I think is sort of more interesting. But what we did is we added on a second Animus, and we got a Perforator. So it seems like this turn is sort of evidence against itself, right? If you ever float red to buy an Animus, like, you should not be happy with your life. Generally speaking. I would much rather have just, like, clicked this last Doom drone and buy, like, 2 Perforators if you really want this second Animus. This Doom drone is not getting value because the enemy wants to defend anyway. And it's making that defend even better. If we hold the Doom drone, they have, like, the sort of choice of holding Shredder, which is okay, or clicking Shredder, which is okay. But by leaving this back, we make one play astonishingly good. So I don't like the second Animus. If you do build a second Animus, you really need 2 Perforators so you can start, like, using that excess red. I don't know. I think that this is a very, very ambitious line for Shadow Fangs that is never going to come to fruition. You don't have enough money. With all your Doom drones about to die off, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 Shadow Fangs and then be overrun. Even though the enemy only has like 1 or 2 attack, you know, you're just not gonna have any drones. I don't know. I don't see this working out. Yeah, they did of course hold back Shredder, and now we're targeting it down. Oh wow, and they get the Doom drones as well. Amazing. What? No, we definitely don't hold back a regular drone here. This is strictly worse than holding back a Doom drone. Right? There's some temptation to say, like, oh, I want my Doom drones to work as long as possible so you can hold them back on 1 and get, like, real super value. But which would you rather own? Supposing that you do, in fact, defend with one of these 2. Which one would you rather it be? Would you rather still own a Doom drone with lifespan 1, or would you rather still own a regular drone? Clearly, in all cases, a regular drone is better. So, we should defend with the Doom drone. And also, we're offering the enemy a breach here, which I think they will happily take. All they need to do is build a couple walls and kill us, right? And not spend any red. Can they not? I think they should take it. Wow, okay. I feel like the enemy missed a big opportunity here. Right? Like, I gotta look at this turn. This can't be right. do this, this. Now we're breaching. We just have to produce a little bit of attack. There you go, our defense. We did it. And we might lose a little bit of value here if the enemy doesn't click their perforator. We're still losing all the Doom drones. And they're kind of unlikely to be able to click the perforator, so I would actually do this. And, actually, can we... Maybe we can do something a bit more like this? Yeah, this way we still get the Shredder, and we get Doom Drone defense value. I think it's a bit greedy to add on a Gauss cannon here, so let's just get, like, engineers. I thought of building a drone to sort of counteract the force field, which might be okay, but we don't have energy for it, so I don't mind building engines instead. Right, so I think this is much better than what the opponent actually did, because the Shadowfang player is extremely sensitive to pressure, and they offered us a breach here. I think that this is clearly losing for the Shadowfang player, right? Like, it was well worth not spending our red and like having to build an extra wall to be able to do this. I think that this player must have just missed the breach opportunity because it's so obviously good. And like, I mean, we're not super, like, we can't build fangs anymore, right? I don't know, like, this is how you build a fang, and it doesn't even defend. So, interesting. I never tried it, but I would have guessed that shift-clicking Doom drones would defend with these guys. They're usually pretty good about making shift-click do something sort of reasonable when it can only shift and click some of them. But, okay, whatever. The point is that this doesn't defend, and we're clearly losing. So, this line from the opponent is a clear refutation of what we did. We just, like, we built this Animus, and we now can't build a single Fang, because if we try, we'll lose. On the turn when we built this Animus, I did mention that, like, you could try something more like this. If you're really dedicated to, like, trying to get fangs out, I think this is the only way you can do it. Build some more defensive perforators. I guess we click this. Do we? No, this is giving them too much value. They don't really want to click this anyway. So we'll make them actually defend with it and kill off some of this stuff first. I don't know, they might very well take this. Who can say? I think we're way behind here. Just didn't get enough drones. All these super early Doom drones. This set is just not fast enough for this. And also, there's enough incentive to get higher econ in the form of Shadowfang and Vi that you can't, like, try to push your way into this kind of, like, super low. You'll feel bad that all these Doom drones are dying, and the opponent can comfortably ensure that they die without getting any value. Doom drones are not that efficient as economical units. They're very, very efficient as defenders. But if you can't actually defend with them, they're, like, I don't know if they're worse than drone or about the same as drone. I don't know, let's look at it. If you had unlimited Doom drone supply, would you ever buy any drones? Is, I guess, an interesting question. I guess you probably would, because energy would still be an issue. If you have to invest in more engineers to let you keep getting as much economy as you would in the drone line, it probably comes out about the same. So, I don't know. My point is, like, this... This is just not a set where you can be building only Doom drones. It looks kind of interesting, but... There's just a couple of high econ things we definitely want to keep in our range, namely Fang and Vi. And there's nothing low econ to really take advantage of this. Right, if you were building Electrovores or something, or Grimbotches, I would find this a lot more convincing. And I might indeed try this in the next super rushy red set that I see with Doom drones in it, just to see how it works. But here, I think it's clearly working badly. Because there's not enough rushy stuff, and there is, like, decent defensive stuff for the opponent, i.e. Shredders and Perforators. And Reservoir will eventually let them win. But okay, we built this... Oh. Yeah, we're building a Fang now, but we're... Yeah, What? This is crazy. You can't let them beat you for a Shadow Fang. Oh, well, they're not. They're only actually attacking for 5, right? I guess this defends. I guess the opponent just sort of needs to survive until their Reservoir arrives, and then they're going to kill us. I don't know about this Tarsier. I feel like it should be a Perforator, but you know, not my problem, I guess. Here they're really attacking for at most 6. Or I guess they're losing at least 2 attackers, probably 3, so they're maybe attacking for 5. But they could attack for 6 if they really wanted to. By the way, shouldn't we have killed a Shredder here? I guess not. They would still get fine Doom drone value here. Well, no, they wouldn't, right? If we killed a Shredder, they'd have 7 defense. They'd lose all the Doom drones and a Perforator and absorb 1 on wall. I guess the same thing is happening here. We made them lose 2 Perforators instead. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but here come all the force fields, and now suddenly life is pretty grim, right? We had to click all the Shredders and hold all the Perforators just to be defended against this, and then we lose. So this, you have only 2 Shadow Fangs, right? This is more proof that the Animus was no good. If you don't get at least 3 Shadow Fangs, it's usually not worth buying, not worth trying to buy any of them. It's an efficient attacker, but not efficient enough to make up for the fact that you spent an extra $6 in getting the tech for it. A mistake that I remember making in one of my earlier videos was, I don't remember, you know, exactly what the circumstances around it were, but I was like, I gotta get Shadow Fangs, they're an efficient attacker. And I actually like wasted 2 red in order to build an Animus so I could build Shadow Fangs. I was like, isn't this amazing? But actually it would just be better to build 2 Tarsiers and then 2 Tarsiers. Like, Shadow Fang is as efficient in terms of like money as 2 Tarsiers, right? The difference is that Shadow Fang doesn't have build time 2. Which is a very, very big difference. I don't want to understate that. But if you're choosing not to build Tarsiers on turn X so that you can build Shadow Fangs on turn X plus 1, you're just like sort of throwing away $6 because you could have gotten the same amount of attack, right? Like 2 Tarsiers on X followed by 2 Tarsiers on X plus 1 produces 2 attack on X plus 2 and 4 attack on X plus 3, which is exactly what happens if you build nothing on turn X. Or an Animus on turn X, let's say. and then a Shadow Fang on X+1, and then a Shadow Fang on X+2. So if you're floating red, you usually don't want to buy an Animus for Shadow Fangs. If you can't get many Shadow Fangs before having to trouble defending, you probably shouldn't get Shadow Fangs. If you're super low econ, you probably shouldn't get Shadow Fangs. So I would say that actually, like, this game was sort of lost on turn 1. This double Doom Drone thing into, like, many Doom Drones and Animus is just not right for the set. The opponent proved it by making us lose all these Doom Drone, getting no value. And it does give the opponent sort of a tough defense, right? You don't often see this aggressive, like, Tarsier openings. But with Doom Drone and Shredder, they're equipped to defend it. There's probably a defense in base set, actually, although I haven't thought about it. Maybe not. Well, of course, this only works because we have Doom Drones, and therefore they have Doom Drones, and so they can defend it quite well. The Shredders help them a little bit, but I think it's mostly the Doom Drones that make this playable. I don't know, maybe the Shredders are an important part of it. Reservoir was kind of a cool thing that I didn't see. It's good when there's, like, good defense but bad attack, and this didn't, like, exactly look like that kind of set to me. I noted that Shredder is a good defender and a bad attacker, and, like, so is Perforator, kind of. But I thought that you would still be building Tarsiers as your attackers because they're just fine and there's nothing green here. However, our, like, super aggressive opening has sort of put the opponent in the position where they are spending most of their tech on defending, and Reservoir lets them do that without being too sad about it. So I definitely, like, one of the questions was the second Animus wrong? Should it have been a Blast Forge? And the answer to that is yes and no, right? It shouldn't have been any more tech at all. You already have arguably too much, right? You're on 7 drones, and your Doom Drones are about to die, so you're going to have to find a way to spend... Like, you're going to have trouble spending even this much tech. I mean, like, sure, you can click Perforators someday, but you're going to be defending with them a lot. If you are building a second Animus, I think it should be for more Perforators, not for Shadow Fangs. But I don't think that's very good either. Blast Forge would be even, I think, worse because you won't be able to spend the tech even. At least with Shadow Fang, you can, like, spend the tech in the magical Fairyland universe where your opponent never attacks you. Like, double red is fine here. But since the opponent will be attacking you, I don't like either the second red or a blue. Yeah, and so, like, we sort of, like, just gradually lose. These force fields are more than a match for us. And you know what? Actually, like, looking at this, the opponent's second conduit, I said I didn't like it too much, right? And I don't know. They ended up getting more force fields than they needed. How much green did this second conduit produce over the course of the game? They built it on turn 6. And when their force fields came in, here was turn 10. So they actually floated most of the green from the second conduit on the first big force field turn. And then only actually got value from it by let them play this second force field turn. But they didn't really need that, right? Did they? Imagine if they'd had, you know, what, 5 fewer force fields or something? Which is about what they would have, indeed. Maybe 4 fewer, I'm not sure. We're still pretty dead here as the red player. The opponent can't breach, you know, for the Shadow Fangs yet, but we'll have a couple fewer force fields and we'll still murder them. Yeah, okay. So I don't like the second conduit. I think just like engineers would have been pretty good. Or another Doom Drone and engineer or something. But anyway, like I said, I think this game was sort of lost on turn 1 when we committed to something that was too aggressive for the set. You could get some pretty early Doom drones, but not this many this early. Like, maybe on... Something you could try, if you wanted to be aggressive, I think, would be, like... Something like this is at least a more credible defensive line, or offensive line, because it gives you... You still get the turn 2 Animus. You have fewer... You have less economy now, but you're not, like, still... You're not totally committed to never building economy again. Right? You can get more Doom drones. You could maybe, like, cut one of these Tarsiers even for Perforator Doom drone. This puts on a little earlier pressure, gives you a defender in case you need it, lets you get another drone, and you can continue building Tarsiers and Doom drones after that. So I think this would be a more credible Red Rush, but I think still a little bit too fast. If you want to have Shadowfang or Vi in your range, you need at least a few drones. So I guess that's what I would say is this is just too rushy. We made a few mistakes as well throughout the game, and I hope pointing those out has helped. As well as ways the opponent could have taken advantage of us but didn't. I spotted 1 or 2 of those. So anyway, there you go. I hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this Why Did I Lose series. Maybe I'll do another one sometime, but for now I am looking forward to a bit of a break from it. It was a lot of fun for me, but it took up a fair amount of effort and time, so I'm glad to not be doing it for a little while. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.